Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Existing Key in the Relationship Advice. I and my husband have been together since high school. We have built a financially stable and respectful relationship. He is a great father and role model to our young children. He does an equal share around the house. Over the past 3 to 5 years, I have been finding him less and less attractive. We have been to counseling together about this. We have had many peaceful conversations, but nothing seems to improve from my perspective. I am going to list a few examples. He forgets about 70% of our conversations. I have to give him reminder receipts on everything we have talked about. He snores while awake. Literally. His face and hair smell so bad. When he wants attention, he gets really immature and starts talking in a baby voice. He leaves boogers and skin flakes in and around the sink. I could go on with more examples, but let's not keep you here forever. We have talked about every single one of these things and more. If there could be a medical issue, he has been to a doctor. Everything is fixable, but it is not being fixed. I know I am not perfect, but these things seem to irritate me to my core. I feel like screaming at the top of my lungs, bashing my head through a wall. That is dramatic, but I feel desperate. This cannot be the rest of my life. How do I get over this? Or what can we further do so we can live happily the rest of our lives? Edit. This is really blowing up, and I'm thankful for everyone's comments. Keep commenting. I think a lot of us are finding community and can resonate with one another. Even in the disagreements, there is quite a bit of valuable information. There are many actionable items I am considering as I plan my next move: more medical checkups, specialist appointments, therapy, hormone replacement therapy, big girl conversations, etc. Many balls are up in the air, and I will come back to do an update once I have the ducks in a row. Update. First, thank you to everyone who commented and took the time to share insight. I read as much as I could. As a newbie Redditor, it was pretty overwhelming. Just a few of my own comments. I do recognize I am in perimenopause. Even though the rage boils my entire being, I still remember how to be gentle, kind, and empathetic. I was never a raging person towards him like a few suggested. I am more forceful with my tone to truly get my message across. As many of you pointed out in the comments, I have let a lot slide in the past, which is how I have gotten here. So perimenopause rage is actually emboldening me to be more assertive. My annoyance is amplified, but his behavior is still unacceptable. He does not have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That is actually me. Unless mine is so bad, he looks neurotypical. He has gained weight over the past few years. He is not obese, but he has been an athlete the majority of his life, so the extra 50 to 70 pounds is probably a lot for him and is causing many of the issues. The hygiene issues will have to be discussed another day. I will be making skincare suggestions, but will not be purchasing things for him. He is a grown man and can do that himself. I have been proactive to make sure I am taking care of myself as I age. I do not need to be making his doctor appointments or buying him his skincare. And the baby voice thing, I will just keep telling him it is deeply unattractive and honestly gross. I will not be having sex with any man who chooses to talk to me like that. I am happy to answer any more questions. But as this subreddit only lets me do one update, I guess this is it. To the update, tonight we were relaxing in bed and I began by saying, "Have you ever considered getting tested for sleep apnea?" He said apprehensively, "Yes, I have," and waited for me to continue. I said, "I have been doing some research and I'm wondering if maybe you have it because of the snoring while being wide awake." He said he would like to try exercise first because he knows that is where a lot of his breathing problems stem from. I continued by saying it is not just the snoring, but if it is lack of oxygen, maybe that would explain the weak memory. He continued to say he knows he has a thick neck and wants to try working out first. I stayed quiet for a long time after this. Eventually, I said, "You have been saying you want to exercise for a long time and it has not happened. It is fine that you want to get back into shape, but I am more concerned about the lack of memory, and I cannot wait around for you to find time to work out. I feel like I cannot have meaningful conversations with you. I cannot trust you are going to remember them." He just kept going back to the exercise solution. So I said, I am grasping at solutions to present to you, hoping you will consider something to improve this. This is a you thing now, and I cannot do it for you. I have been giving you suggestions for a while, and now including getting tested for sleep apnea. Choose what you want to do or not, but I cannot live like this anymore. It was quiet for a long time, and it was pretty obvious he was not really understanding the full scope of it. So I continued to say that I do not have a partner I can trust to have any type of conversation with because there is no guarantee that he will remember. I try to have mindless conversations about plans that we have or about the kids, and when he proves again that he cannot remember, it makes me feel even more alone. I told him I cannot have a partner where I cannot connect with or feel I can share important things with, knowing I will be disappointed and let down later. He tried to deflect by asking how often I thought this was happening. Let me tell you, if I were a violent person, now is about the time I would have ripped his eyeballs out. He seriously was not understanding the severity of this. I said, it happens enough that I try to give you a little, but when you forget, I am reminded all over again that you do this often enough. I am angry all the time about it. That is how often you forget, if you need that indicator. He acknowledged this. I asked him if he noticed the majority of our conversations over the past few years happen over text. I told him this is because I think if it is in writing, at least he can go back and reread and remind himself. This is why I do not want to talk to him in person anymore. He deflected again by saying he thought we texted more because the kids are not around and it is easier to focus and have a conversation. He thought I was not talking to him in person because I would rather be on my phone or reading. I told him I do those things because I do not want to talk to him in person. I finally said he needs to figure this out because I cannot live like this. It is lonely and isolating. I cannot talk about anything from silly, meaningless things to more serious issues. I need a partner who is stepping up for me and wants to have an integrated life. When I feel disconnected from him, it seeps into every other aspect of our relationship, and there is no connection happening anywhere because of this. I reminded him to choose what solution he wants to explore, but I will not be providing any more suggestions. This is a him thing to fix. If he does not get it figured out, I do not think I can survive the relationship. I left it at that. He rolled over and did not say anything. So I guess the decision is on him now. I hope my message was clear. I do not know if he will actually pursue anything, but I know if nothing changes, I am done with this marriage. I did not truly feel how lonely I am until I was trying to express that to him tonight. Kitchen Owl said, I feel like a broken record about this on these posts, but hopefully somebody will listen and get help, even if OP's husband does not. If you snore, or if someone else tells you that you snore, get a sleep study. They have take-home kits now, so you might not even have to go to the lab. If you have sleep apnea, try a continuous positive airway pressure machine. Diet, exercise, and so on are important. Please do go for it, but those will produce gradual benefits. You will be fighting an extreme uphill battle trying to make those life changes while you are exhausted, not thinking clearly, and not at your best. Do those things with the machine. Sleep apnea kills. Take it seriously. Ninja Flower Lady said, comments are talking a lot about the devastating impact of sleep apnea, and that is absolutely valid. But I feel like the baby voice and leaving boogers on a shared sink space are truly disgusting. Those two things go beyond sleep apnea or weight issues. That is just him being a gross adult man. And those are the only examples OP gave in summary. Imagine how many other nasty little habits he might have that OP has lived with for more than 20 years. I know literally 0 people who wipe boogers on the sink, and I have lived with dozens of people in shared housing. This next post was made in the relationship subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, When my wife and I got married 4 years ago, we both wanted children. Now, after 4 years, she changed her mind without ever telling me. We met when she was a college freshman and I was a sophomore, and we started dating about 2 years after meeting. We really hit it off. She is the most wonderful person I've ever known. We get along great together and have always had a good relationship for the most part. Children have always been very important to me. I love kids, I'm a huge family person, and I've always wanted to have several. She knew that since before we even dated, and I always understood that she wanted to have kids too. When we started dating, it obviously came up and she laughed at my enthusiasm for a big family but said it was cute and that she wanted to have kids too in the future. When I began to prepare to propose to her, we obviously had to confirm some things, and once again, she told me she wanted to have kids. I let her know that I want to have kids early since I really don't want to be an old dad. I want to be able to play with them, have the energy to spend time with them, and look like I'm their dad and not their grandpa. She understood too. We got engaged, then married, and all this time, when people asked us when the kids were coming, she answered perfectly normally and said maybe sometime soon after the wedding. I'd like to stop just to say that I didn't marry her to have kids, nor do I consider her a baby factory. We dated for a long time, and I really genuinely love her. I'm just making sure that you can tell that it was established many times before and during our marriage that we were going to have kids, and that she knew how important this was to me, and that she herself told me she considered it important to her too. After getting married, we promised to wait at least 2 years before having children because we wanted to make sure we had a happy marriage and enough money to properly care for a child. So we agreed to wait 2 years to settle ourselves together, travel to exotic places, work hard, and set everything up. Plus, we were still young. I was 26 when I married her. I thought 28 or 29 was a perfectly normal age to start having children. So we waited with a mutual understanding. Then, when the 2 years passed, I asked her about having kids. She said she was currently going through a really rigorous time at her job because she was close to getting a promotion, but the competition was tight and she really wanted to focus on it without a pregnancy getting in the way. I understood. She eventually got the job and it was great. Then I asked again and she said not yet. We moved into a bigger apartment and she said she wanted to settle in first. I guess by now I should have started guessing something was wrong. More time passed, but she insisted I wear a condom and didn't go off birth control. Then a few months ago, I turned 30. Now I was starting to get worried. I expected to have had at least one child by now. I don't know why I never talked to her about it. We had always been candid about having children together, and I couldn't possibly think of why she would change her mind. All her excuses seemed perfectly reasonable, but now I was getting the inkling that they were just excuses. So we talked about it. I sat her down and told her that I was 30 and I felt I really wanted to have kids before a certain age had passed. We would both be perfect parents. We're happy together, we have a spacious home, both she and I have very high-paying jobs and could be considered wealthy, and her parents live 20 minutes away so they can always help out. That's when she told me she wasn't sure she wanted kids anymore. She said she felt a pregnancy and then giving birth and caring for a baby would take too much away from the career she was building. I was crushed. I told her she doesn't have to quit her job for a child, but she did bring up a point about how much maternity leave would take away from her overall work performance. If she really wanted to continue working, I told her we can both totally afford a nanny for our child to care for him or her while we're working. Plus, her parents live so close, but she told me she doesn't want to leave our child with a stranger or her parents. It was an awful night. What hurts the most for me is the fact that she'd felt this way for a while now, and she knew how important children are to me, and she should have told me earlier so we could figure things out with more time. After a lot of thinking, I finally told her something I thought might change her mind. I'd quit my job, I'd stay home and care for the child. She wouldn't have to take a day off work after giving birth. I'd be here 24/7 for it and any other babies we might have. I knew this was what I wanted. A child matters much more to me than my job. Our family income is pretty evenly split between the two of us, but even with her income alone, we can still live comfortably. But she just said I wasn't understanding her point. Now I'm completely lost. Here's someone I thought I knew, and it turns out I really don't know anything about her. I understand her goals and ambitions and respect her, but it's still something that is important to me. It's still something that I refuse to age and live my life without experiencing. I'm feeling older now. I feel like I should have had a child by now, and I want one soon. I don't want to be too old when it finally starts happening. I asked her if she ever wanted a child, and she just couldn't answer. Since then, we've barely been speaking. I'm going to try to talk to her again and sort this out because we need to decide what's going to happen, but I don't know what to say. I want to get someone else's perspective, but so far we haven't told anyone, and she doesn't want us to. I just don't know what to do right now. Update. I sat her down and we had a long talk. Basically, she said she was changing her mind about a lot of things and wasn't sure she wanted to have kids anymore. I let her know that this was getting in the way of the plans we had made together, and she told me she knew that and apologized. So I asked her why she hadn't told me, and she admitted that she was afraid I might be unhappy. If she had told me, I would have understood. We would have talked things through and worked something out. What hurts me most isn't that she changed her mind on something so big. It's that she changed her mind on something so big and didn't tell me about it at all, knowing how important this was to me. After about a month of a lot of talking, we came to a conclusion. There was no getting around the issue. Our relationship was essentially over. I still think she's attractive, amazing, intelligent, funny, and one of the most interesting people in the world, which is why I told her that for the sake of any future relationships, it's best we avoid contact as much as possible, because we didn't break up over a fight or infidelity, but for a rational reason, it would be too easy for us to fall in love again or something and continue the cycle. I can't blame her for anything more than I can blame myself, and she's handled it all very well. We're truly having a velvet divorce, if you could call it that, splitting everything we've saved together as evenly as we can, selling the apartment, and each of us moving somewhere else. All of mine will remain mine, and hers will remain hers. She doesn't want it to be any harder than I do. Both of us have our lawyers, of course, but it's being handled with transparency and fairness as much as we can. And yet it still hurts inside. When we finally agreed to file, I sat down and cried, thinking that I had just pushed away the most wonderful person in my life, the person closest to me and most sincere to me, over my life goal. Then the next day, I realized that she had ceased to be that person to me, not on the day we divorced, but on the day she changed her mind on something that affected both of us and didn't even try to tell me. Our relationship was already dying since it lacked the trust and communication a step like that required. I think that's what's actually hurting me the most. It won't be easy at all, but at least I've taken the steps necessary, and I think that in a few years' time, I'll find someone else, someone to connect with who shares my life goals. Maybe 5, 6, or 10 years from now, I'll have children with that person. And in 20 years, those children and the mother of my children will mean so much more to me than anything in the world. And I'll be glad I became a father because I know that's what I truly want out of life. Even more than a great career, a nice apartment, or a wealthy wife. I will miss her more than anyone, and maybe in those 20 years, I'll still think of her occasionally. She's been great about it, probably because she's realized the relationship was doomed just as I did. I hope she gets all she wants in life, and I don't mean that sarcastically or cynically. She deserves it. It really hurts, and I hate to have to write it, but I figured you all deserve to know, even if it's late. Also, writing this all down is kind of cathartic in a way. Starry Gecko said, honestly, this was probably the best outcome for both of them. I wonder how this man is doing now. To this, PCAP Data said, his is probably going to spoil a lot of people's moods, but I know couples who have gone through this, and in more than one case, the person who said they actually didn't want kids was seen a year or two down the road in a new relationship with kids, hoping OP is spared that. I cannot imagine what a gut punch that would be. Blue Avol said, this makes me think of the man who found out from his wife on her deathbed at 78 that she had taken birth control for years without telling him. He had been excited about starting a family, and as she said, she wanted that too, except clearly she didn't. Her mother had died of a miscarriage when the wife was 6 or 7, and she had always been terrified of getting pregnant. But she married the nice boy next door because she was told to do so. And now this man had to reevaluate his whole life in his 80s. His wife was gone, so there was nobody really to blame. A divorce like this is hard, but children are one of the big things. Hopefully, they both found their better match. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.